Welcome to Intuitive Art Sales. This is the show where I, Jessica Craddock, am going to teach you how to source your art marketing from within. You're going to practice claiming that authentic art business that you want and leading into the most natural way for you to get there. You're going to learn to get connected to your intuition, your confidence, and your community so that you can sell your art consistently while holding strong boundaries on your work-life balance. Good morning. I'm here with the beautiful Elizabeth LeMaster, and we were supposed to only do 10 episodes this season, but I was talking to her on Instagram and she was telling me about how her life is just so crazy busy, and she's really trying to gain some momentum in her art business. She's been selling offline for many years, but really trying to gain momentum online over the last 4 or so. Essentially what's happening is she's staying up past midnight every night to be able to get some concrete momentum going. And she's just needing a little bit of help with that. And I said, you know what? I would love to do an episode about this because I know that this is not unique to you, that there are many other artists out there struggling with. I just really don't have the time and I'm not quite willing to give it up yet. So she is a stay-at-home mom. She has a bunch of crazy, wonderful kids. She's an introvert. She paints floral and figurative realistic paintings about motherhood. Like I said before, not to everyone else here, but to Miss Elizabeth, I don't know how this episode is going to go. Like, I don't know exactly the advice that I'm going to give you, but I just want to jump in and see where we end up. How does that sound for you?
That sounds great.
Great. Okay. So my favorite question to start off with is, a year from now, what do you want your life to look like? What are we aiming for? If we're taking concrete steps towards something, we have to have at least a picture in our mind of what that looks like. So can you describe that to me?
Oh, so it's a whole like mental image. So I would love to have my home all put together and be able to have people into my home where I can do studio visits and be able to have it be a hospitality place. And I would love to surround my space with my art as well as being able to get that to other people to be able to have it bless them. I would like my finances to be in a place of abundance and where it's supporting my family and being able to have extra pour back into my business. Personally, since we just moved, I would like to start building a community. Artistically, I'd like to finally paint some things I've been wanting to paint for forever. I'd love to get back into using oil, but with very small children, I've switched mediums. I'm currently doing watercolor because I can just drop it. And if someone comes and touches it with wherever it's sitting at the moment, it doesn't smear. Mostly, I'd like to be able to have visible progress in my business such that I can point to it and say, this is not futile, this is actually going somewhere. Like there's purpose. I can see that I'm actually making progress. And I would like to have space. I know this is going to come out really funny, but like extra creative brain space.
It's not funny at all.
Get everything to a place where I have extra creative brain space for different parts of my life. There are some like specific business goals that I would like to reach before next year.
Tell me.
I would like to get through all the series of paintings that I've planned for the year for the first time ever, actually get through all of them. I would like to get my online space working again. I've had my website crash on me 4 times now and had to redo it completely from scratch.
So your goals are to get through all of your series and get your online space working where it's usable and not crashing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great prerequisite for a website. Anything else?
Well, I have some extra little things like Every year I put out this artisan Christmas guide where I feature different artists. It's specifically for moms who want to bring in intentional handmade goods into their homes and not junk.
I love that.
You know, as you're decluttering and getting everything sorted in your family, it's easy around Christmas time to bring junk into your home.
Yeah.
I like to put out, people that I've followed for a very long time and that I love their handmade goods and I know the quality of them, and just put it together in like a gift guide. And so this month is usually when I reach out to those people and ask them what dates do they have coming up for the holidays, and start getting photographs from them and putting together words and writing, because it ends up being like 30 pages of like articles on each person and then photographs and links, and it just ends up being a bunch of work. But it turns out really pretty. And it's before, when I was working, I did a lot of graphic design and newsletters and magazines and that sort of thing. Writing a magazine is kind of like my thing. I've done it for a long time. So again, I would love to be able to get that pulled together and gone out this year. So that's my major goal for the end of this month of September. And then in October, I have this Rose series going out. So writing launch emails, writing all of those things ahead of time. So I have a list of emails that need to be written. So that's the goal for the rest of this month, is getting those two things rolling.
I want to say that I love all of that. And it's very ambitious.
Very. So part of the problem is, so how do I figure out what is the most important thing to do tonight, tomorrow night, so that I'm not just spinning my wheels doing things that are not actually making progress? Because I can spend a month every night writing an email, or an entire week writing out all of my social posts for the month or something like that, and then I end up feeling like I didn't make any progress.
Right.
Because I get to a space of time and there's nothing to show for it other than busy work.
Yes. Honestly, I don't think you have enough time to have busy work. Like, I think you're probably prioritizing a little bit better than you're giving yourself credit for. But I think what we can do is kind of twofold. One, think about the purpose of everything that we're doing. Like, how does it fit into this vision that I have for my future? And also create some measurable statistics. Is that the right word? I don't know. But so we can see the progress. So let's think a little bit about, I know what my purpose of the Artisan Christmas Guide would be, but I want to hear what your purpose is, besides the fact that it is creatively fulfilling and possibly giving you some of that extra creative brain space that you were looking for. Why do you do it?
Well, number one, I do it because I really enjoy it. But number two, because a lot of the stuff that I do with my art, I do it, for me. And my audience of mothers, especially if they're stay-at-home moms, they don't have a lot of extra income, it gives them something that they can interact with and that I can share with them that is actually helpful and can just be a blessing, even if it's just looking through pretty things. It's something I can share that actually has value, that doesn't require a price.
So if you had to put it into words, you would say you're doing it for your audience.
Yes.
And how does it help with your marketing / business / let's see, what did you say? Abundant finances, building your community.
It gives opportunity to connect. So it gives a lot of connection points. It gives me something to talk about. It gives other people something to interact with. It last year brought a lot of people onto my newsletter.
So do they have to sign up for your newsletter to get it?
I have done that in the past. I don't know what I'm going to do with it this year.
One of my favorite ways to bring in more people into my audience is collaborations. And that's one of the things that I teach as well, which is essentially what you're doing with this Artisan Christmas Guide is you're collaborating with 30 other artists to help promote them. And in turn, I would love to see you asking them to promote it to their audience as well. Do you do that?
Okay. I have not.
Okay. This doesn't have to be something that's really complicated, but when you are initially reaching out, I don't want you to make it a prerequisite. Like, I would love to feature you, but only if you feature me back. But saying something along the lines of like, I would really love to feature you to my audience, and sharing all of the wonderful things that you shared with me. Like, it's an opportunity to connect, and it's for mothers who want to have handmade, curated items in their home instead of bringing in junk, and all of those bits, because that's going to make them want to say, yes, I believe in all of those things too, and I would love to be a part of your project. Everyone is going to be flattered just to be featured, but when they have more than that and they can kind of get on board and believe in your cause as well, it's just going to be that extra level of oomph. So then whenever you're reaching out to them and saying, I would love to feature you, let's see, let's think of some wording. How exactly would I say that?
Usually I start out with kind of referencing the connection that I have with them, like how long I've been following them, what my favorite series of theirs was that they've worked on in the past, just my connection. And then I tell them how that's affected me, and then just move on from there, saying, because the work you've done has had meaning in my life, I'd like to share you with my audience. And here's how I do it. It goes out in my newsletter. It would look like this. This is last year's. This is what a page spread looks like. What are your dates? What is coming up for you? You know, anything you'd like to share with me that I could share with my audience that would be special, those kinds of things. And then just ask questions and have a relationship. And usually from there, like you said, everybody is super responsive. And again, you just make friends, connect.
I think normally my advice would be keep doing exactly what you're doing, and then later we can use those connections for other purposes. However,
It takes
your time is so precious, and that is such a large project that I really would like to see if we can just get a little bit more out of it. I think the one thing that you could possibly just throw in there to make it easy to ask them to share is to say, if you would like to share it with your people, here's how they can get it. And then you share your landing page of how that they can sign up for the newsletter and get the guide.
Okay.
Instead of just giving them the guide to go give to their audience. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So we talked about one, thinking about the purpose of everything that we're doing. So to make it really easy, I think about it like this. There are 3 parts of marketing: visibility, nurturing, and selling. So this would fall under a very good visibility activity. It's a lot of work, yeah, but it's got a lot of potential for big results. So the purpose being visibility, then the thing you want to measure is how many new people are around me now.
Okay.
And part of that is you want them to be your kind of people as well. So when you're writing that language that the other people can send out to their audience, you're going to use those connection points. It's for busy moms. It's for people who want to not bring junk into their home every Christmas. It's for people who love beautiful handmade things. It's for people who want to stop and stand still and breathe and remember why they chose to walk the beautiful journey of motherhood. So it's all of that. Yes, it's a gift guide, but it's more than that. It's all of these things that you are and that your art is about. So they're not just joining your newsletter, they're feeling connected to you, and they're getting something valuable from you, and someone that they love essentially recommended you.
That makes sense.
So these are more of a warm lead than a cold lead. Yeah. Okay, so we thought of the purpose of this task that you're doing. And how are we going to measure it? We're going to measure it by, the most obvious one is new subscribers. But also we could say, how many of the artisans take the time to share it? Because that's something that you can affect. Like by you following up and you giving them something to share and possibly even following up again. If you just stopped at step one, let's say, less of those artisans are going to actually take the time to share it. But then if you do step two, you get a little bit more. And if you do step three, you get even a little bit more. So that is a measurable result that you can have an impact on, which will in turn affect how many new subscribers you get. You can't really control the amount of subscribers. You can control the amount of people who share it. Or you can affect, you can't control. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Is there anything else that you would like to measure around your Christmas guide that would make you feel like I'm making progress?
No, I think that would feel like measurable progress.
Okay, great. There's not a whole lot of time in there between them finding you and the purchase window for Christmas. So I might even like let yourself off the hook a little bit as far as needing to promote something to those people right before Christmas, and maybe go for like a January.
I have a collaboration that I have in the works for January, so it honestly would be just fine. And that way it doesn't feel like a lot of pressure for me to put out Christmas products this year because, again, it's
Fine.
just a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah.
To do well.
Have you ever had a collection release online before?
Yes.
How has that gone for you?
Every single time I have put something up for sale, it's pretty much, I think it's always sold. Can't think of anything that's not sold.
Beautiful.
There's always a really wonderful response. It's just a matter of I can't create things that fast. Right now, I am focusing on quick wins. What can I do right now today that I could see measurable progress with? But I don't know that that's what my mindset should be.
I love the quick win. I think too many people come up with this big plan and then just start taking steps toward it. But by the time they get to the end of the plan, it's changed. And there were different paths that would have been better, but they were so focused on exactly how it had to look that they miss all of the beautiful, magical opportunities that came in the middle of it. And so I don't really love looking at it that way. I'm a big fan of let's figure out the next step, which is what you're doing already. And I don't want you to change that unless it's not working for you, but I think it is working for you. You just haven't figured out how to see it quite yet. But you're selling out everything that you put out. You've got this beautiful idea for a collaboration with 30 different people at once. It's just about seeing your progress so that you can believe I am making progress so you can keep going. What would make you feel like this is worth it? Let's say in the next 2 months, 3 months before Christmas, what would you like to happen to know that it's worth it?
I guess maybe hearing back from other people, because it feels like I'm pouring time and effort into a void where I don't hear back that it's actually profitable and making a difference for other people. Does that make sense?
No. So are you talking about like an Instagram audience? What are you referring to exactly?
I guess I don't really know specifically. It feels like I'm over here in my little corner of the world, just pouring my midnight hours and all the extra brain energy I don't have into doing stuff that kind of feels like it just disappears. And I don't ever hear back from anybody very often that it's actually making a difference for other people in their lives. So, like, is this actually ministering to people? Is it actually making a difference for other people? Or am I just spending my time spinning my wheels?
Yeah. Earlier, when I asked you what your vision was, you said abundant finances, supporting my family, giving back to my business, building community, painting my new ideas, and having extra creative brain space. But then when I just asked you what would actually make you want to keep doing this, you said, I want to know I'm making a difference. Is that the number one thing that motivates you?
I think so.
So we need to figure out how to measure if you're making a difference. That's an interesting problem. Because normally what I would encourage you to do is just continue making these conversations and like having those connections and getting the feedback from a one-on-one kind of thing. But since everything you are doing is past midnight when everyone else is asleep, are you able to really connect with people and ask them, is this making a difference? What about all the people who have purchased from you in the past? Do you have some sort of relationship with them where you could go back and ask them questions?
Most of the people who have bought work from me are on my newsletter, and most of the people I know personally in some way, shape, or form. I'm trying to think if there's anyone that I have not met in person before, even for a short period of time. I can't think of anyone who has actually bought work from me that I didn't know in person at some point in time.
Help me for a second here. If you had to put into words, what is the difference you are wanting to make? How would you say that?
Specifically with my art.
Well, I think whatever you want to create change in the world also comes through your art, but yes.
So I really want to minister to moms who are crazy tired and crazy busy, and be a blessing, be that grounding point where people can stop and why motherhood is important and why they chose to be moms, then go back to motherhood and their family and be intentional with their mothering. I think being able to find a way to bring connection and joy back into motherhood is what I personally am about. I want to minister to mothers. And I'm still in those shoes.
Which is why
A
important to
crazy
you.
busy mom who needs encouragement.
So if you had those words of affirmation from people who owned your art, would that give you the fulfillment that you are seeking that would make you want to keep going?
I think so. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So a lot of that is going to happen on a one-on-one basis. Yes, it's also going to happen in your content, but that's harder to measure because you don't see what happens behind the scenes. So I think one of the things is how many moms have I had a conversation with? And also, I think it could be really interesting. Do you know what Loom is? You can record a video and send it to someone. And I'm not saying you need to use that service, but I think it could be really interesting if you recorded a loom and said, it's midnight over here, and I really am feeling the need to connect with people who resonate with my art and what I have to say. And I was just wondering if I could ask you a favor. Would you mind writing me back and telling me, and you can fill in the blank on this question, how has my art made a difference in your home? Or, if you had to describe my message in a sentence or two, I want to see if I'm getting it across correctly. Whatever it is that you're wondering about, just straight up asking them. It's not wrong to go to people and ask for that motivation back. You're trying to give it out to people. You're trying to give them that encouragement. And they're going to love you already because they've taken the time to buy your art. They've already known you at some point in your life. I think that they would be more than willing, at least some of them, to help you.
That's not a weird thing to ask, because the people who actually buy my art tend to not be the audience that I'm talking encouragement-wise specifically to. Isn't that
Right? But then you can find out,
there seems to be a
why.
disconnect.
Why are they like, what is this disconnect? Why are they still so connected to me and my art? Why are they buying it? You can almost get that second wave of motivation. And yes, it is a little bit of a weird thing to say. And you can always say, I know this is weird, but this is what I need in order to motivate myself to feel like I am making a difference, because that is what I want to do with my life, is to make a difference. And yes, it's through painting, but I want to find out how I'm making a difference. And it would mean the world to me if you would share your thoughts with me.
Okay. I'll try that. We'll see what happens.
If that's really weird for you, you could even start a little bit smaller and like go back through your DMs, find someone you had a meaningful conversation with and ask them something similar. What if instead of measuring how many people have I had a conversation with, you set a number for yourself? Every week, I want to reach out to 5 moms and give them some encouragement.
Okay, I can do that.
I would say pick a low number so
Okay.
it feels executable and easy to do. And then if you go over
Okay.
it, great. But if you're having a crazy, crazy week and you say, I want to reach out to 20 people, you're probably not going to do any. But
Yeah.
if it's 3, you're like, I could still fit this in.
Yeah.
Okay. So does that give you what you need?
That feels like it's switching the priority from getting things done in the business to connecting with people. So that's a very different mindset. Is that going to make the progress that we want to see?
Remember those 3 parts of marketing: visibility, nurture, sales. Those conversations, that's nurturing.
Okay.
So we've got the visibility, we've got the nurture, and you told me if I put something out on the internet, it's going to sell. So we've got sales.
Okay.
So what are you missing?
I just spend a lot of time trying to make things beautiful and get them out in a professional manner. So maybe if I'm putting more focus on the nurturing, I need to find quicker, faster, more attainable ways for making things beautiful so that I feel like I'm making progress.
Yes. So you told me you used to be in graphic design. So I feel like I could say, go create a newsletter template. Go grab your Christmas guide from last year and just replug things in. Like having templates.
Yep.
I want you to pick every night one priority.
Okay.
And
In one of those 3 areas and get all 3 areas done in a week, or?
I like to do a month. So like a month of visibility, a month of nurturing, a month of selling. I feel like that gives you a lot of space. Could you finish your Christmas guide in a month if it was your priority?
Yes, but a lot of other things might fall by the wayside,
Such as painting.
such as painting.
The other rule of thumb that I use is 50-50. So like 50% marketing, 50% art making. So what that month would look like would be if you do 5 nights a week, 1 week you could switch it back and forth. Like 3 nights are for marketing, 2 nights are for art making, and then the next week vice versa. When you know your limitations, you start to cut things out. Like, I only have 3 hours to work on this. I don't have time to spend an hour redesigning this page. I need to just take the article that I wrote, plop it in, and call it good.
Mm-hmm.
And you start cutting out all these little time wasters.
Yep.
I think that that could be a huge difference for you. So then 1 month, you're making your, let's say your flower collection, and you're creating this guide behind the scenes. And then the next month, you are following up with the people that are in the guide and having these conversations every night. And then the next month, you are selling the flowers that you put out. So then that last month, that selling month, that's when you're going to go back to writing your sales emails and photographing things. And it doesn't even necessarily mean I have to sell them this month, but that is when you can get all of those projects and activities done.
Right.
How does that feel? Does that feel manageable?
I think if I work on things in 3-month rotations like that, it may feel more manageable as I go through the cycle, knowing that I can put that on the back burner for a month. It will happen.
I would love for you to stop giving yourself 6 things you need to get done in 1 hour or whatever. Instead, write everything out, everything that just went through your head. I don't know if I can get all these things done. I think that I might have too many things on my plate. Write them all out. And if
Okay.
it makes it easier, you could put visibility on 1 page, nurture on 1 page, sales on 1 page, and just see like, what do I have to do in each of these? And then every night when you sit down and you're brain dead, you can just look at that list and say, what is the most important thing on this list that I can work on? And just work on it. You don't have to finish it. You don't have to check it off. Maybe you end up getting through 6 things. But it's like when we get into this to-do list mode, we always feel behind, not enough, insufficient, all of those words that I can name. And you stop making progress because you just get addicted to that to-do list check mark. If you look at it and say, what is the most important thing? You're going to leave feeling successful because you worked on the most important thing that you could have.
Thank you. That's probably what I needed to hear.
There you go. I knew it was in there somewhere. We just had to find it.
We found it. I think that's what I needed to hear. That's what I need to work on, focus on.
Yeah, great. I just kept looking and I'm like, I don't think she's got what she needs yet. There's a couple different options that we ended up with. I really, truly do think I would like you to also have one at least thing to measure each month to see the progress. It might be the conversations, it might be the subscribers, it might be whatever it is that you want it to be that month, but something that can give you a direction almost to help you see, oh, this is the most important thing to help me get that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, so tell me or tell my audience, how do they find you? Where should they go?
Well, right now, since my website is down, Instagram is probably the best place to connect with me. And if you go through my link on Instagram, you can find my newsletter.
And just out of curiosity, which one do you love connecting with people the most on? Is it the newsletter or is it Instagram?
It depends on if people are responding back. So if you're actually having a conversation with me, like if you're going to reply back to my email, I love connecting privately in email. But if you're not going to do that, then connect on Instagram where we can actually have a conversation. There is a lot that you will see in my newsletter that you will not see anywhere else.
And tell them, or spell out your Instagram handle for everybody. So
it's LeMaster Artistique. So LeMaster Artistiquue.
There you go. Perfect.
Thanks, Jessica.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you haven't yet, be sure to hit subscribe so that you can get new episodes loaded straight onto your phone as soon as they're ready. And as an added bonus, when you subscribe, it helps other artists find this advice so we can learn how to make our art more valuable as a community. What could be better than that? And be sure to say hello and let me know you've been listening over on Instagram. My handle is @ArtistMarketCo. I would love to hear from you.